Welcome to UWS Weekly, a show that is dedicated to covering United Women's Soccer, a national pro-am league with your host, Jonathan Ward. Each and every week, we will highlight players, supporters, and staff of the clubs we all pride ourselves to support in North America. The UWS is a league that is committed to advancing women's soccer. Good evening, soccer fans, and welcome to the UWS studio and to UWS Weekly, a show powered by Rain Total Body Fuel and dedicated to the best women's pro-am league in the world. My name is Jonathan, and I'm super pumped to have you guys joining us today when we speak with Kongo SC head coach Izzy Gins and Sage Nelson this show. But before we get started today, we want to make sure everybody was aware the weekly power rankings for UWS was released yesterday evening, late evening, and saw a shift in the top five that sees Detroit City FC number one. The week one power ranking was not kind to Detroit City FC, who saw a 3-1 defeat to Chicago Mustangs, have them start the year off at number 3. They responded with a 10-0 thumping of the Muskegon Risers after Steven had predicted on the kickoff show that the Muskegon Risers would win this matchup. They had been playing well up until this point. A new 18 for Detroit City FC makes this club a really scary side to play, yet a fun one to watch and talk about. Melanie Forbes netted 5 goals, not in a starting role, but off the bench for Detroit City FC. And Coach Sam is confident that his team can continue to create chances and cause havoc for the rest of the season. FC Buffalo started the power rankings low, and not because they weren't winning. That's the Eastern Conference has been hot and cold to date, but the one thing that remains the same is FC Buffalo winning and looking like a contender in their first summer of soccer in the UWS. Carissa Cotrone is pulling all the strings for the attack and has Buffalo playing at such a high level right now. 2 wins last week in a matchup against Lancaster Inferno, who wants to make a statement of their own, should prove to be a tough matchup for Buffalo, and a win could shake up the power rankings even more for next week. Midwest United is symbolic with the idea of consistency. It is critical, and it's a big part of Midwest United's continued success in the UWS. Coach Lewis Robinson and defender Paige Eli have this team as early season title contenders and have us looking forward to their June 19th matchup when they take on Detroit City FC as a possible matchup that has everything on the line to play for in the Midwest North Conference. Their 4-2 come from behind win against Corktown was a notable win for the club, with Claire Carlson playing an important role in that effort. Last week's weekly show guest, Lone Star Republic, is still a top team with a lot of talent and will be in the conversation all season long. Their 5-1 win over Batco saw Kennedy Kessler grab a brace, and it was a nice win overall. What seems to be the start of something special in the Southwest Conference in UWS. Another match against Batco Friday, and then a battle on Saturday with FC Austin Elite is going to test Lone Star Republic early, and this could be a weekend that sees them regain the top spot. And then in our 5th rank is the Chicago Mustangs. They've had back-to-back wins that never had a bad thing. Wins are never a bad thing when you do so without allowing a goal. Mustangs continued their fantastic start to the year with a 2-0 win over Lansing United, and then turning around the next day with a 4-0 win over local rivals, the Ladies Steel FC. Mallory Olsen continues to make a name for herself after winning Team of the Week honors for Week 4 and 5 goals to start the campaign early on this season. Look for her to stay hot when they play Indiana Elite this Saturday. Tonight, I'm joined by head coach Izzy Gaines and Sage Nelson from Kongo SC to talk about the start of the season, as well as give us some insight into the club's history. Good afternoon, you guys. How is everything going? How are you doing?
Good.
Everything's good.
So before we get started, I have to ask, and Sage, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in the game that we all love.
Right. Yeah. So I actually come from a family like all soccer players. So I have two brothers that both went to Westminster, and then my sister coached throughout my career. And then I ended up going to Grambling State University for a couple of years, where we won the conference. And then now I'm at the University of Wisconsin Green Bay and playing there. But yeah, I love to play with Kongo in the summer because it keeps me fit, keeps me ready for going back and playing in college.
And Izzy, what about you? You're not golfing yet. You're not retired. You're obviously coaching clubs in the background there. But tell us a little bit about your story and what it's like to coach Kongo SC.
It has been awesome. I kind of have a little bit of an unconventional upbringing with soccer. I am the only one in my family that really played. My dad played football and rugby in college and decided to have us kids try soccer, and that's just how I got led into it. But I kind of had the idea to go play college, but I wasn't really too keen on it. Coming out of high school, I grew up in Boise, Idaho. I played for Idaho Rush there. It was an awesome club. Decided to serve a church mission after I graduated from high school, so that took up my time. But when I came back, I realized that I still wanted to do something with soccer. So I went to Utah Valley University and went to go walk on the team there, practice with them throughout the spring, joined the WPSL in the summer. And during that time, I kind of learned about college club soccer, and I realized that Utah Valley University didn't have a club team, and I kind of saw an interesting market there and thought, well, I'm going to go develop this club team instead. So I ended up doing that and did that for a good 5 years. Loved it. I think I put more effort into that than I did my schooling. But I loved it. That's just like where my passion was. And so after that, and after training for another company for different clubs just throughout the years, I kind of fell into this coaching position after all that experience was behind me, and now I ended up here with Kongo, and I couldn't ask for a better club to coach for. It's awesome.
Well, talking about the club itself, can you give me some insight, Izzy, into how the concept of creating a women's team came about? Obviously, there's a lot of youth programs in Utah, but what made this opportunity different as it related to creating a women's team?
With Kongo, our main drive to creating this team was just to be a different team here in Utah. There's a lot of women's teams, so it's kind of a different avenue wanting to be different because there's not much you can do to stand out from that. But joining the UWS was a huge part about that, and we knew that we could become the best women's team in Utah by doing that. And so that was kind of the driving force of why we wanted to create this club.
Sage, you started the year off on the wrong foot, right? No wins, one draw, and a loss. What's the idea? What's the locker room situation? How is everybody taking this this early season? Yes, it's 2 games, but at some point you want to start winning. How's it been so far? The atmosphere with the team,
right?
You want to start on that? Go for it.
But yeah, so basically, this is our first year in the UWS. And personally for me, I was more used to the WPSL. And I honestly hadn't heard of the UWS before going into this league. And honestly, I wasn't prepared for the kind of level that we've been playing against. The UWS is, in my opinion, a lot higher speed of play, quality of play than the WPSL. But yeah, we definitely got off to a slow start. We tied against one of the 2 California teams when we definitely should have beat them. So that's something that we're definitely looking forward to when we play against them here at home. And then with the Santa Clarita team, what can I say? They were really good. They had a bunch of ex-national team players, a bunch of ones that are going to top schools in California. But we definitely were slow, and I think we weren't prepared for that, but we're going to play them this Saturday. And, we've been practicing, really focusing on our game plan, and we're hoping to execute that on Saturday and actually give them a good game this time. And I think we'll be able to do that.
Izzy, how do you keep everybody up on level, right? Staying on their toes. Obviously, you got a big, tough matchup against Santa Clarita Blue Heat this Saturday. But how do you keep everybody invested and make sure everybody's on the same page as you and Sage?
I think just from our learning experience of playing these two teams is how we keep ourselves on our toes. We realize that we need to play up to this level, and we need to play up to this speed and match where these guys have set their expectations, because this is a different level of soccer, and it's going to require a lot more work. And luckily we have a really solid group of girls that are able to put in that effort and keep themselves invested, no matter if it was a tie or a loss. Like, we don't care. Moving forward, we're going to take what we've learned and apply that to our trainings and apply that to ourselves mentally and bring that back onto the field.
So tell me a little bit about the overall mission of the club. Obviously, every club has a vision and a mission statement. What is it for Kongo?
Yeah, I previewed this a little bit, answering the last question of just our driving force of becoming a club was just to be the best in Utah. Unfortunately, we had the Royals team in the NWSL leave Utah this last year, and which is really sad to see, because we have an awesome community that rallies behind soccer players here. And so that was really sad to see, but now it kind of falls back on us, because now we want to become that best team, and we want to be the best women's soccer that Utah has to offer, and where people can come and watch and still enjoy a high level of play. And that's all there is to it, is just be successful and be the best team we can be in Utah.
Sage, what drew you to join Kongo?
Yeah, so kind of like how I said before, I was on the WPSL teams, and the one in Utah that I was on before is called Arrows SC, or Utah Arrows SC. And the head coach of Kongo right now was actually coaching at the Arrows. And then COVID or Corona hit, and he was like, he kind of broke off because the coach at that time didn't really want to practice or play or really do anything. And me and a bunch of other girls were like, oh, we still need to be able to get ready for college, and we still want to train, and we still want to play. And luckily, Coach Faust gave us that opportunity over at Kongo, and we were able to play at still such a high level. A lot of girls even went back to college better than they were before, but I really liked how professional it is over at Kongo. The commitment level is a lot higher than all the other teams that I have experienced here in Utah. And I also like how there's just such a support, and levels really high, so it just automatically drew me in.
Awesome. Izzy, what drew the organization to UWS? Obviously, there is a club that plays in another league out that way, but what was the driving force behind Kongo and Kongo joining the UWS?
Definitely the competitive nature and just the professionalism behind it. We wanted to play good teams. We wanted to be in a really competitive league. And like I said, we want to be the best team in Utah. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is by playing the best teams out there. So we're lucky enough to be in that conference with some of these awesome teams, with Calgary and with Edmonton and Santa Clarita and Santa Ana. I mean, you can ask for better competition. And so we're just excited to be able to up our game and become the best team that we can by playing those teams. And so that was initially our draw into the UWS.
What is the goal for the inaugural year? Obviously, everybody's goal is to win a championship or get to play in the national championship July 23rd through 25th with a location to be determined. But what is the goal for Kongo going forward the rest of the summer?
I think our main goal is to just learn and develop and reach the best potential that we can as players and as a team. Obviously, with this being our inaugural year, we want to set the bar for what we are as a team and who we are as players. And we have a lot of trust in our players now and our recruits now to be able to set that bar going forward.
Sage, what about for you? What is your personal goal this year as it relates to Kongo? Obviously, growing in the game, being able to be a little more sharper going back to college. But what are some of your personal goals as it relates to Sage and Kongo this summer? Seems as though we might have some technical difficulties with the state.
So kind of be that impactful player on the field.
Sage, you still with us? Let's see.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're kind of in and out of this. Yeah, you're good. All right.
Oh, okay. How about now?
It's getting better. There we go. Let's try this again. So what is some of your goals this summer as it relates to the summer of soccer for Kongo and yourself?
Okay. Oh. Right. So this summer, I just want to be able to kind of be that player that makes such a big impact on the field that I can really rally our team around and kind of boost everyone up, even though, we might not be the best in the UWS or in our conference right now. But I just really want to be the player that kind of like boosts everybody up, keeps us going, and so that we don't let down and we don't give up. Because I think those are the teams that can win on any given day. Because that's what is the best thing about soccer is really anyone can win on, a certain day. It doesn't matter. So I just really want to be that kind of player, and especially since Coach Faust has made me captain recently. I just really want to be able to develop that leadership role in myself and be able to help the girls out as well.
Izzy, what makes soccer in Utah different? Obviously, everybody has their own idea of what soccer is like in their state, but soccer in Utah, you don't really hear much about it. But what makes it different? What makes it unique?
Utah is a state to put on your radar because I have been amazed just coming from a different state myself. Like I said, I came from Boise, Idaho, and to see the difference between there and here, has been drastic. We have a pretty amazing amount of youth programs in the area that really are just so focused on developing these youth and getting them to where they can be potentially. And we just have a vast amount of clubs that are so competitive. We have awesome coaches. We have awesome trainers in the Valley. And I think just in Utah in general, there is such a culture of wanting to better oneself and investing in your talents and just being the best self you can be. And we see that turn over to these players, and we see their talents just develop like crazy while they're growing up. And we recruit so much to our colleges here in Utah. We have 7 D1 schools where women can go play college ball, which is incredibly awesome that there's that many opportunities. So there's a really big focus on that. But in general, just Utah has such an awesome culture of soccer. And we've seen that just throughout the years. We've seen more NWSL recruits come out of these colleges, and we have some pretty phenomenal players out there. So Utah's definitely one to put on the radar when it comes to women's soccer.
Awesome. So in terms of the players, what local programs are you guys using to kind of help facilitate and kind of grow the game in Utah?
I don't know if you want to enter this one, Sage, too, but you probably have more experience than I do just with Utah and soccer and developing youth and stuff. But I think Kongo in general, when you think about Kongo soccer, just us as a team, we're one women's team, but also Kongo, they supply so much more to their athletes. We see a lot of awesome athletic trainers that come in, weightlifting coaches, conditioning coaches. That in itself, there's such a culture there of just wanting to better athletes, and we provide them with those resources to do so. And it's just that plays such a physical and mental game within athletes to just reach their potential and be the best that they can be.
Sage, we kind of talked about it earlier about you and the personal growth, but as the captain of the club, how do you expect to continue to grow as a team this summer? Izzy and Coach Faust can only do so much, but you as a captain have a lot more to say in that. So what is something that we can look forward to and see in the growth of this club?
Right. Yeah. So that's such a great question. So since this is our first year as a team together, I think just the more time we spend together, the more practices, the better our chemistry is going to be, the better we can perform out on the field. As long as we just stick together. And obviously, to every year it's only up from here, and I'm excited to see where our team goes, and I know everybody else on the team is excited as well.
Hey Sage, if you're close to a hotspot or a router, could you potentially move a little closer to it? Your internet's kicking out, and so we're only getting a few of your statements that are pretty good to hear about.
Oh.
So as we wait for Sage to kind of regroup here, Izzy, I got to ask, what is it going to take for this club to continue to grow in this conference? Obviously, you guys did not get started on the right foot with two games, a draw and a loss. But what is it going to take to come out of this conference and kind of turn the foot to the right side here?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of continued learning experiences and just even putting our name out there. I mean, we're so fresh as a club right now, but it's only up from here when it comes to recruits, to exposure. And I think people will see what Kongo has to offer just when it comes to coaches, to training, to our facilities, and to how we treat our college players and how we treat them professionally. I hope that players see this and they take to that and they want a part of it. And so for us, honestly, with the way that our season started, I feel like it's only up from here with what we're learning and how we're training, and now we know what we're up against. And so honestly, that's all there is to it, is just working up from here and getting ready for these seasons to come.
Sage, how does the club help in advancing the game of women's soccer, but at the same time helping advance the players that are participating in the club?
Okay. Well, I moved closer to the router, so sorry about that, guys. But so yeah, basically just moving the game forward. I'm so grateful for programs like the UWS, or leagues like the UWS, and all these teams in it. And basically, it's providing that next level for players to get seen, get experience at that professional level, but maybe not quite there yet. But you're still getting that professionalism, that experience, that exposure. Like I know last year, which was kind of like our practice year, I guess, because of Corona. One of the players on our team, Amber Marshall, she's actually in the NWSL right now, playing with the Houston Dash. So it was really cool that she was able to get that opportunity to be seen by professional clubs like that, and being able to go to that next level, and then also being able to inspire the next generation to follow the steps that way, continue the process and grow the game.
Do you think having a teammate or a player that comes out of the organization and going to NWSL, does that kind of help bring talent or help people work harder knowing that they have this opportunity?
Oh, definitely. And I've been talking to a bunch of the girls on the team too. We always say how cool it is that Amber was able to do that, and that's actually a possibility now, because you never would have thought that before. But she's definitely set the bar high, but it's definitely something that we can we can strive for and try to reach as well.
Is there a certain type of quality that you're looking for in players that are joining the organization at any time?
Oh, for sure. I mean, when it comes to recruiting players, I mean, not only do they have to be talented on the field, that's a given, but I think for me personally, I really look for somebody who has humility and can be a leader at the same time. And it doesn't matter if they're team captain or if they're fifth string on the bench. I want them to be a leader in whatever vicinity that they're playing at during the time. But I also want them to have a lot of humility and be coachable. And just having those personality traits just brings such a different dynamic to the team of being able to develop while being able to help each other, being coachable yourself, and then being able to coach others at the same time, and having just that mutual respect for each other that we can grow from each other's suggestions and advice while on the field. I think that's huge.
So this year has been extremely difficult for organizations and sports throughout the world. What have you taken away from this experience to help you grow as a coach, as an athlete in the sport of soccer?
Oh man, yeah, this year has been hard. I wish I had some like awesome COVID story to like support this, but I really don't. I think the biggest thing about this last year has just been making sure you're personally developing too, while you maybe don't have a team to play with, or we don't have the same resources as we do. There's a coach who had this motto throughout COVID that was called "Win the Weight." And that's something that I absolutely have loved and just kept in my mind. You want to win the weight personally. You want to do whatever you can be doing to improve as a player, mentally and physically, upping your game so that you can come back and just be as effective, if not more effective, we hope, after kind of waiting out this COVID period. So as for negatives, I mean, like I said, that might be the biggest thing, not having those resources, but at the same time, we can take so many positives from that, and we can apply that just to who we are and take that time to develop ourselves.
Sage?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Izzy. And one thing I will say about COVID, it's definitely made me realize how important soccer is in my life, and how much I really rely on it. Because for a while it was taken away from everybody, kind of like we weren't allowed to play with teams or anything because, social distancing. But it definitely made me realize how amazing it is. Even not being able to watch it on TV was really hard. Like, it was just like no sports for a long time. But it definitely made me appreciate it a lot more. So that's definitely a good thing that I took out of COVID.
Sage, I got to ask, can you give us some insight? Growing up, we play in tournaments where we play 2-3 games a day. But when we get to be a little older, it has wear and tear on us, right? And playing back-to-back games in California after a long trip out west, give us some insight into that opening weekend doubleheader you guys had, and what should we expect from the next performance that you have coming up against Santa Clarita Blue Heat this Saturday?
Okay, I'm so glad that you brought that up, because it was definitely like an eye-opener of how old I'm getting. But so basically, like, the first game that we played, we had just driven from Utah to California. So that was like a 10-hour drive. So we basically had like a power hour nap at the hotel and then left for the game. So that was hard on our bodies. And then also, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the subbing rules in the UWS are different from college and the WPSL, so you don't get as many subs. So we weren't prepared for that either. So I got a lot more playing time than I had originally anticipated, but I was super, super grateful for it anyways. But yeah, basically we just played a game the night before, and then turn around and you play the best team in the conference, basically. So we were all kind of hurting from it, but we had to suck it up and give it our best. But I'm excited for this weekend, because turn around, that's going to be them doing it. What we had to, they're going to travel and then play immediately. So hopefully that'll be in our favor this weekend. So cross my fingers.
Crossing fingers for sure. 10-hour trip. And again, it's different, right? You're traveling, your body's getting used to that travel. You don't really have the opportunity to warm up or stay moving on the bus due to way regulations, right? So it's a little different of a world when you're traveling by bus, but I'm glad that you guys were able to get out there. You know the pace of the game now. You've been able to watch some film and get used to it. So that would be a good thing coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being said, you have a game this Saturday. You're hosting Blue Heat. What should fans expect or be excited about this weekend?
Good soccer.
Yeah. Izzy,
Really
you want to
good
take this one
soccer.
or me?
No, if they're going to come see any game, it should be this game. I mean, this is one of the best teams in the nation when we're talking about women's semi-pro. So if they want to come out and see a good game, this is going to be the one. And like I said, if they want to come out and see what Utah has to offer as for women's soccer, this is going to be the game to come and watch.
Yeah, I agree. And basically just the same thing as you said, the level, the quality is unlike anything I've ever played against. So it's definitely going to be a battle. You're going to want to watch it. We're going to have you on the edge of your seat. It's not going to be an easy game. So we're excited and we're ready to battle.
That's all that matters. You gotta be able to be ready for that, because they're going to come in. They may even fly in. Who knows what happens?
Yeah, probably. They probably have a private jet. So
You never know. You never know. But hey, before we get into the hot seat questions, and I put you guys on the burner a little bit, I have to ask, what does community mean to each of you?
Oh, community. I kind of look at community and just everybody doing their separate roles and playing a part within this bigger picture. We all have the same goal, but we are doing very separate jobs to work towards that certain goal. So it's a lot of individual accountability, making sure that you're doing the best that you can to progress mentally, physically, whatever, if we're looking at soccer. And working towards a common goal, just being successful and developing as a team. But it really just comes down to accountability, each and every one individually, to rally together and make something beautiful out of it.
Yeah, definitely 100% agree with Izzy. I would just add on community is probably everything in sports. It's what makes sports what it is. It's being part of something bigger than yourself. And I think also just having that support of your teammates, your coaches, trainers. There's such a huge community that you don't even think about, from the fans to the coaches. Like, everyone is involved. And I think that's what makes sports so great, is that you can be involved in, many different ways. It's not just with the players or the coaches. There's so many other people behind the scenes that make everything possible and make it fun.
Well, thank you for answering that question. We're going to move on to the hot seat. Joe, our producer, who's normally in charge of this, is out this evening, but that doesn't mean we can't have the hot seat. So we'll start off quick questions for both of you. We'll have about 5 questions total. But my first question, I have to start with this because I have my favorite pair right here. What is your favorite pair of boots that you wear or that you wore while playing? And Sage, we'll actually start with you because you probably have a pair that you're going with right now.
Yeah, I love I love my Adidas X Ghosted ones. They're the white ones with the gold stripes on them. They look so clean and they're so light. I can't ask for a better shoe. I am 100% happy with the money that I spent on it. So I'm so happy.
Is he? I'm pretty sure you've turned your boots into a golf boot, but
yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm very passionate about this topic. I am 100% Adidas boot every single day. I've owned Adidas boots for like the past 15 years. The best pair I ever had, though, were a pair of Audi Pures that were kangaroo leather. They were beautiful. They were white. Those things lasted me for like 5 years, which is insane. Oh, speaking about, just the level of soccer that I was playing at, but they lasted. They were awesome. So I will never buy another pair of boots that are not Adidas, that is just the way to go.
All right, next question. Pre-game meal. What is your go-to pre-game meal?
My classic go-to is a banana peanut butter with honey sandwich. That is my go-to. Has never failed me.
Yeah, pre-game meal. Mine used to be peanut butter and Cheerios. You just put it in a bag, you mix it all up, and that was like my thing.
That's a cool jam.
Yeah.
Wakeboarding or paddleboarding?
Oh, that's a great question. Wow. I don't know, because if I'm paddleboarding, then it means I'm at the ocean, which I love. but I just love wakeboarding, especially because in Utah, that's the thing to do. Like, you go boating. So I might just have to say wakeboarding on this one just because I do it more.
I'm going to have to bypass both and just say snowboarding because I am biased here in Utah and we have great snow, and I'm going to go snowboarding when I can.
That's fair. That's fair. It is summertime. That's why I ask. But hey. So the next question I have, favorite local spot to eat. What is a good local go-to spot to get some grub in Utah?
Oh, I have so many places. So Izzy, you can start this one.
Oh my gosh, I have so many places too. I mean, if you're looking for like the place, it's going to be like Costa Vida or Cafe Rio. That is like a Utah staple. That's another places. So locally, I would have to go with a place called Station 22 Cafe. They do really good like East Coast Southern food that I just like love. That's my roots, and so that's my place.
All right. Okay. I respect that. Cafe Rio is definitely on my list as well. But I'd probably have to say, and a lot of people don't know this, it's called Bucket of Crawfish. It's like the only place in Utah, like that. So I love it.
During your playing days or your current days of playing, what player does your game resemble?
Oh,
that's a good one.
That is.
I would honestly have to go with like a Becky Sauerbrunn, only because like I was just a defender through and through, and she's really calm and collected and kind of quiet, and that's how I kind of played on the field, and I feel like we have very similar playing types and personalities that way.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'd kind of say I'm a mix. I'd probably be more towards like a Rose Lavelle just because I like to be creative and dribble and like make stuff happen. But I really like Lindsay Horan and how with her set pieces, she's just on every time. I really like that about her. So I'd probably say a mix between those two.
All right, my last question before I let you guys go this evening. What is your spirit animal?
Oh, I've been waiting for someone to ask me this question for 21 years.
Perfect for Sage.
My spirit animal is an orca. I think they are so cool and just like the most terrifying predator of the ocean. So orca, 100%.
I have always loved baby hippos. I have this thing for just like, they're just so small and fat. Like, it's just so cute. So like, yeah, it's my spirit animal.
Awesome. Well, Izzy, thank you so much. You guys made it. Thank you for joining us this evening. I really appreciate it. Saturday, you guys have a big match, Santa Clarita Blue Heat. Sage, do you want to give us some insight into that match and tell people where they can attend or see it?
Yeah, for sure. So the match is going to be at the Rack, which is down by the airport in Salt Lake City. And I believe the game is going to be at, did we say 6 or 6:15, Izzy?
I believe it's at 6.
Okay, it'll be at 6. Be there, be square. It's going to be good. You're going to want to bring some popcorn. And, yeah, it'll be a show. So definitely come out.
Awesome. Well, Izzy, Sage, thank you so much for taking the time to join us this evening. We look forward to Saturday's matchup, and good luck to you guys this Saturday and the rest of the upcoming UWS Summer of Soccer season.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you so much.
Have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening for UWS Weekly. You can follow all things UWS and UWS2 on their social media pages and send your questions for future shows as well. Join us Saturday morning for the UWS kickoff show powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. The show starts at 6 a.m. Pacific. We're going to highlight the Alcaranas Central Texas Hornets match. So make sure you join us to get you primed for everything UWS this upcoming weekend. So until then, cheers, everyone. Have a great rest of the week.